Hi, I'm Justin, and this is Chelsea, my wife, and this is little Reese, and we're going to tell you the story that we've experienced the last year or so of our lives and of Reese's life. And it's been an interesting year, but Chelsea will tell you a little bit about the pregnancy leading up to Reese's birth.
Our pregnancy was pretty normal pregnancy. We just had one small thing about 20 weeks. I started measuring big. Well, my uterus was measuring big. It wasn't that Reese was measuring big, so they sent us to a specialty neonatal doctor, fetal doctor, that would be what it is. And through the whole pregnancy, they kept saying everything was normal. Reese didn't move as much as some babies, but it didn't look to be that she was handicapped according to them. She was born at 38 weeks, and we thought we had a normal, happy, healthy baby. And about 2 hours in, she stopped breathing in Justin's arms.
Yep. From there, they took her to the neonatal intensive care unit, and Chelsea stayed in the room, and I followed the doctors and the nurses there, and basically just they told us that this is where she was going to be for the night, and that we needed to go back to our room and kind of settle in and get some rest, because at that point we had been at the hospital for about 16 hours, and it was about 1 o'clock in the morning. So we made our way back to the room and ate dinner, and they proceeded to start trying to get Chelsea to breastfeed in the middle of the night, and so it was a very long night. We woke up the next morning not knowing what to expect, what was going on. All of our plans and expectations of, hey, we're going to have this little cute cuddly baby in our arms all night, we're starting to diminish. We were worried, concerned. It was a really long night. So we got up the next morning, went to the NICU, and it was a holiday weekend, so there wasn't a lot of doctors and the main people there on that weekend. So we just kind of made it through the weekend, feeding her what she could, finding in that she wasn't able to really eat with a bottle or swallow well. So that was kind of a big thing that kind of triggered a lot of the different tests and stuff that they were doing. Through that process, again, it was just difficult coming to the realization that not everything was perfect, or our plan, what we had planned, what our vision of a perfect pregnancy, take the baby home, everybody's there to congratulate you, hey, glad you had a child, and glad to see you. So from there, we spent 2 more weeks at the hospital in our hometown, just trying to get Reese to eat by mouth, because that was basically what was holding us there. And through that process, they did an MRI, which revealed to the doctors that the left side of her brain was significantly smaller and undeveloped. So that triggered a whole other round of tests, in which they tested for a lot of different genetic disorders, and didn't come up with anything. So it came to the point where the doctor said, we can send her home, but we've got to get a feeding tube. And that's when we said, hey, let's go to a bigger hospital. Let's see some more specialists. So at that point, we moved to St. Louis Children's Hospital, where they ran further tests, continued with her feeding and different things, trying to get her to eat, because that was the main difficulty we were having at that point. So we stayed at St. Louis Children's Hospital for another 4 weeks. And at that point, when we were able to leave, we had the surgery to get a feeding tube so that she could eat and gain weight. And at that point, they ran many more tests trying to figure out what was causing the smaller side of the brain. To no avail. They were still unable to figure out, what was going on, what was causing the problems. And I will say through this time frame, that month and a half when we were in the hospital, for me personally, it was, I'm somebody that is goal oriented. You set a goal for me, you set something in front of me and you say, work towards this and achieve that. And for me, it was a lot of times, hey, I can do this on my own. And the more and more we went through this, there were several instances I can remember where, just crying out to God and just saying, it's not our plan. I'm not in control. I can't do it. I can't set a goal and achieve it on my own. We've got to have God's help. And so from there, we stayed in St. Louis for 4 weeks. They sent us home after the surgery, and Reese began to just really do well. She started to eat by mouth with a bottle, and just seems to be doing a whole lot better at home. And we were having a good time. And they called a few weeks after we got home and told us that they found a genetic disorder that Chelsea and I both carry as a recessive gene. The disorder is called congenital disorder of glycosylation, and her subtype was 1K, and that puts her in a very small minority of people. There's only about 19 to 20 people in the world that have ever been diagnosed with that disorder. And so with that, there was a lot of unanswered questions as far as treatment and where to go from there. It was, again, another hurdle to get over, another difficult situation, and one that required us to, again, put our trust in God, that He had a plan, and getting past the fact that what we had laid out, what we had planned in our minds for Reese and for us as a family, wasn't going necessarily to happen as we had planned it, but that we were seeing more and more that God had a plan for us and for Reese, and it was better than what we had planned on our own. Through all of this, our church, our family has been there for us. Without our trust in God, without the church that we attend, without our family, there's no way we could deal with or get through even a day. The idea that you can do it on your own is thrown out the window when you have a difficulty or a hurdle of a child that requires your attention 24 hours a day, all the time. I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
Well, some of the daily struggles we go through with Reese is constant seizure activity. She has anywhere from 30 to 100 seizures a day. And it's just really hard to see him go through these seizures that sometimes make her completely blue. And I would have never imagined having to give my daughter mouth to mouth. But every time she comes back, I know God's watching over us.
One thing, when you have a child that has a disability or something that deters them from being able to do the thing a normal child would do, you take each and every moment that you have with her, or him, in our case her, and you cherish it. On her first birthday, she up to this point had never really moved or done a whole lot. physically. And
that day she just started kicking her legs and smiling at us and looking at us in our eyes, and she had never done that before. So it was our little birthday gift from God.
so for a lot of people who give their testimony, and a lot of testimonies that we've heard in the past, there's they're through it, they're past it, they've made it through. And one thing that has come to the forefront of our mind is that we pray a lot for, and we did initially, for God to just get us through this and
To heal her.
to heal her and get us through that. And we realize that may not be the case, and that she may not be healed. And the biggest part of what we're trying to focus on now is not getting through it, or not getting past it, but working through it with God and letting Him show us what He has to teach us through this journey. And whether that be to help other people through something similar, or whatever that may be, we've allowed our hearts to be open, our minds to be open to that. And I would encourage anybody who's going through something that is difficult, who is not through it. It may be a long journey, but you're in that journey for a reason, and learn from it and absorb everything that God is teaching you through that. And I guess I'll share a verse real quick that we read often. It's in 2 Corinthians 4, it's 4:17 and 18, and it says, "For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen. For what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal." And so we know that Reese may not walk, she may not talk, she may not ever be able to enjoy, food in her mouth, but we know one day that she's going to be in heaven. And she'll get to enjoy all that.
And she'll come walking up to us, and she'll know who we are.
So that's the hope we keep every day. And we continue to learn each day. Different challenges each day, but God helps us through every one. And again, I just encourage whoever's watching this to through the difficult times, don't just try and get through them, but learn through them.